I want to begin by saying a few words directly to racialized Canadians who face discrimination every single day in their lives, even in a country like Canada. What I did hurt them, hurt people who shouldn't have to face intolerance and discrimination because of their identity. This is something that I deeply, deeply regret. Darkening your face, regardless of the context or the circumstances, is always unacceptable because of the racist history of blackface. I should have understood that then, and I never should have done it. Je veux d'abord dire directement aux Canadiens qui font face à de l'intolérance à tous les jours à cause de leur identité que c'est pas acceptable que dans un pays comme le nôtre, des gens soient encore victimes de racisme. Et le geste que j'ai posé, les gestes que j'ai posés ont blessé profondément ces gens-là qui doivent vivre à tous les jours avec de l'intolérance. À cause de l'historique raciste de ce geste, ce n'est jamais acceptable de foncer sa peau. J'aurais dû comprendre ça à l'époque et je n'aurais jamais dû le faire. Je m'en excuse profondément.
Mr. Trudeau, hi, David Cochran with CBC News. Last night on the plane, when we asked you if the picture that emerged in the Time report was the only time you had done this, you left us with the impression there was only one other incident. And since then, Global News has released a video which seems to show that there was at least a third incident. So exactly how many times have you darkened your skin with makeup in an act that you have yourself described as racist?
I shared the moments that I recollected, but I recognize that it is something absolutely unacceptable to do. And I appreciate calling it makeup, but it was blackface. And that is just not right. It is something that people who live with the kind of discrimination that far too many people do because of the color of their skin, or their history, or their origins, or their language, or their religion, face on a regular basis. And I didn't see that from the layers of privilege that I have. And for that I am deeply sorry, and I apologize. Okay. Je reconnais que c'était inacceptable. J'ai partagé les événements dont je me souvenais. Mais la réalité, c'est que ce serait jamais acceptable de foncer sa peau quand il y a des personnes qui vivent à tous les jours avec la discrimination à cause de leur identité. C'est pas la personne que je suis. J'aurais dû le savoir à ce moment-là et je le regrette profondément.
So, Mr. Trudeau, how many times? Is it just the three that we know about, or are there more incidents? Because you know people are looking for them. And if a candidate were to come forward now with this in their history, would you allow them to run for the Liberals in this election?
I think that's a question that we would look at every step of the way. I think examining the case-by-case situation, examining the actions that someone has taken. I am certainly conscious that in my political career as leader and indeed as Prime Minister, we've taken many concrete actions to fight against racism, to fight against intolerance, to fight against anti-black racism specifically, to recognize unconscious bias and systemic discrimination that exists in Canada and elsewhere, to work to overcome and recognize intersectionalities that people live with in a way that so many of us simply cannot understand or appreciate the microaggressions and the challenges being faced. So even though we've moved forward in significant ways as a government, what I did, the choices I made, hurt people who thought I was an ally. I am an ally, but this is something that obviously I deeply regret, and I never should have done.
More than three times? More than three times, yes or no, sir? More than three times, yes or no?
Larry Cush, Winnipeg Free Press. Mr. Trudeau, yesterday you said that you didn't realize in 2001 that it was wrong to put on brownface, but now you do realize it is wrong, and I'm wondering when it dawned on you that it is wrong.
I think it's difficult to become a politician where you spend as much time as you will do working hard to represent people, working hard to getting to know a community like the community I have the honor of representing, Papineau, where there is extraordinary diversity, extraordinary challenges, and yes, extraordinary intolerance, even in a city like Montreal, in a country like Canada, that people live with every day. And as I've learned to not just represent people, but to fight for them, and to try and build a better community and a better society, I've learned every day that it is unacceptable to engage in this sort of behavior. Okay. Quand on a l'honneur d'apprendre à représenter une communauté comme le comté de Papineau à Montréal, une communauté multiculturelle, multiethnique, remplie de personnes avec une diversité extraordinaire, mais des gens qui font face à la discrimination à quasiment tous les jours dans leur vie. Cette responsabilité de bien les représenter et surtout de les défendre et de travailler pour bâtir un monde meilleur m'a enseigné, j'ai appris directement des gens de Papineau à quel point j'ai toujours bénéficié de privilèges qui voulaient dire que je ne comprenais pas la réalité de gens qui font face à ces discriminations quasiment à tous les jours. Pour ça, je suis profondément désolé et je sais que nous devons tous faire mieux en tant que pays, mais moi particulièrement, en tant que Premier ministre, je dois faire mieux.
Ran in Papineau in 2008, and later when you ran for the leadership in 2015, presumably there was a vetting process. I'm wondering if you thought enough about this issue that you volunteered that to in the vetting process, or did you ever declare that this had happened?
I never talked about this. Quite frankly, I was embarrassed. It was not something that represents the person I've become, the leader I try to be, and it was really embarrassing. J'en ai jamais parlé publiquement parce que je suis profondément gêné de ce comportement. Ça ne représente pas la personne que je suis, la personne et le politicien que je suis devenu. J'aurais dû mieux savoir, mais j'en prends la responsabilité.
Afternoon, Mr. Trudeau. Teresa Wright from the Canadian Press. You said just a few minutes ago that you told us last night on the plane that of all of the different instances that you recalled, have you since been made aware or remembered of other instances, and if so, how many?
I think it is obvious that this is something that was deeply regrettable. I am wary of being definitive about this because the recent pictures that came out I had not remembered. And I think the question is, how can you not remember that? The fact is, I didn't understand how hurtful this is to people who live with discrimination every single day. I have always acknowledged that I come from a place of privilege, but I now need to acknowledge that that comes with a massive blind spot. I have dedicated my leadership and my service to Canada to try and counter intolerance and racism everywhere I can, but this has been a personally a moment where I've had to reflect on the fact that wanting to do good and wanting to do better simply isn't good enough, and you need to take responsibility for mistakes that hurt people who thought I was an ally, who hopefully many of them still consider me an ally, even though this was a terrible mistake. La réalité, c'est que je ne pouvait pas être définitif parce que je ne me souvenais pas des photos récentes qui étaient sorties, qui étaient prises pendant que j'étais guide de rivière un été dans les débuts des années 90. C'est quelque chose qui me gêne profondément que je puisse ne pas me souvenir de toutes les occasions, donc, toutes les occasions possibles, parce que pour moi, c'est profondément frustrant pour moi de devoir reconnaître que je n'ai pas toujours été à la hauteur que je m'attends de moi-même. J'ai passé ma vie politique à essayer de défendre les droits des gens, de repousser contre l'intolérance et la discrimination, mais je dois reconnaître que j'étais aveugle à moi-même la douleur que j'ai pu causer en ces moments-là et que je cause maintenant à des gens qui comptent sur moi pour les défendre et non les faire sentir mal.
I just would like you to answer a very basic question. You've done this obviously more than 2 times. Why?
I think when we recognize, when we reflect on mistakes we made in the past, that's a question that we're always going to be asking. Why did we do that? Why did we think it was okay? Why did we think it was a good idea at the time? It wasn't a good idea. It was a terrible idea. It was something that minimizes and takes advantage of a reality that I have not had to live with, of being discriminated against, of being marginalized, of being judged for the color of my skin, for my language, my background. I come from a place of privilege, and I have endeavored in my life to put the advantages and the opportunities I've been given to serve this country, to fight for people's rights. And I have to recognize that I let a lot of people down with that choice. And I stand here today to reflect on that and to ask for forgiveness.